Hi everyone. I just want to go over the case study a little bit with you. First, I just want to show you on D2L kind of where to find some things that we may have not used before. So if you go to the content, you'll come scroll down to week 9, which is all the content for this week. But actually, the case study itself can be found under case studies, which is open now. So you can link to the case study. This is actually the Dropbox. So you will be typing out the answers to your case study in a Word document and then uploading it into the Dropbox. This is one way to link to the Dropbox. Here is the actual case study. And here is an example of an A grade case study. And like I say here, this is just for reference. This is to show, this is a student who did really well on another kind of case study on another semester. I just want you to see it more for the content, more for the thoroughness, the detail with which she answered all of the questions, not the formatting, not at all. Don't worry about the format that she used. I just want you to see the kind of level of detail that I would be looking for an A paper. Okay, so you can come here to the Dropbox. We haven't used the Dropbox yet. If you click on that, you can see diabetes case study. All right, so you click on it. You actually might see something different than I see, but I just wanted to show you where, where you can find it. Okay, so let me just go back to the case study and open it up. Sorry, let's see here. Okay, so I also made another video going over carbs and diabetes. Diabetes this week. I would definitely listen to that video. All right, so here is the information. You have this woman, she's 45 years old, all these, her clinical parameters. You have figured that in order for her to maintain weight, this patient would need to take in about 2,000 calories a day, okay? Now, again, in here I say you've got an hour. She's just been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. You have 1 hour, which is actually not a lot of time for somebody that has just been diagnosed with diabetes. In your case study, I would rather see less suggestions explained simply and clearly and thoroughly than a million different suggestions that is going to overwhelm a patient for the first time. Kind of like it says here. Okay, so question number 1, first of all, please, when you answer these questions, make very clear what question you're answering. I make mention of this in the instructions, but I'm going to take points off if I cannot clearly see which questions you are answering, because it just gets very confusing. So, bullet pointed, or question number 1, question answer, question number 2, question answer, etc., etc., etc. Make sure you have answered all parts of the question. Please spell check everything. This is, if you want to ensure the best grade possible, I'm going to be looking for all of these details. All right, so list all of the risk factors that this patient has for the development of type 2. All of this is in the PowerPoint. Again, I mentioned this before. Only take the information that you see written here in black and white. Don't assume anything. Don't assume that she exercises or doesn't exercise if it doesn't say anything about that. Don't assume anything about her past, about her future, what she will do, what she won't do. You don't know until you sit down and you start speaking with this patient. Just use the information that's here. All right, so you want to bullet point these out, all of the risk factors that put this patient at risk. Okay, I have said here, you have already concluded that's going to be important for her to lose weight. I want you to tell me what calorie level you would counsel her to be at. Be realistic about this. You don't want it to go too slow, but you definitely don't want it to go too fast, mainly because she is not just going to be losing weight, she is going to be trying to count her carbs, and her whole world is going to be turned upside down. So I'd like to see that kind of information displayed in the case study. What calorie level, and then You know, this goes, like I said, it goes back to the slide in the diabetes PowerPoint and weight management. When we talk about 3,500 calories being in 1 pound. You know, you're going to want to look at that slide and figure out realistically what's going to be the best calorie level for this woman. Okay. Based on the calorie level that's appropriate, recommend a carbohydrate range, and I'm asking, number one, recommend a range in percentage of her daily calories, and then give a range in terms of grams of carbs per day. So you're going to need to do some math there. The ultimate number she's going to be using is going to be grams of carbs, because she will be carb counting. So you need to figure out, number one, her calorie level. Number two, how that translates into, number one, her calorie level, what percentage of her calories you want coming from carbs, and then how that translates into grams of carbs per day, okay? You're going to teach her how to carb count, number four, based on your answer for number three, right? So number three, you should come up with a range or a number for grams of carbs per day. So now you're going to teach her how to count. How many carb choices would you recommend to this patient based on the grams of carbs that you have recommended overall for the day? Please read over there's a slide on the PowerPoint how to figure this out. There's some of the handouts absolutely go into how do you figure out how many carb choices per day this person should have, okay? It's pretty straightforward. You're just going to need to read the information. All right, give the top 3 recommendations that you would give this patient as it relates to food. I don't want to know about exercise. I want to know strictly about food. Food and blood glucose control. Okay, I want you to be very specific. Bullet point out 3 top recommendations, the 3 take-home messages that you want this person walking away with in terms of how the food that she's going to eat is going to impact her blood glucose control, and the top 3 recommendations that's going to help her get her glucose in check. Okay? Number 6, what are the 2 most important messages you're going to tell her about her carbs? There might be some overlap here between question 5 and 6. Like I say here, remember, she has no nutrition knowledge. Keep it basic and clear. But what are the 2 most important messages you're going to tell her about carbohydrates? Remember, she knows nothing. Okay? And then 7, what are the important messages you're going to give her about her fat? Remember, she's at increased risk for cardiovascular disease because she has diabetes, and she's also got a history in her family, okay? So, like I say, if you tell her to increase or decrease a certain type of fat, tell me what kind of fat, but then give me food examples. Don't think that if you say to her, oh, you should be reducing X type of fat and increasing X type of fat, she's going to have any clue what you're talking about. You're going to want to say, you know, these types of fats can be found here. Try to reduce those. These types of fats can be found here. Try to increase those. A lot of this, to me, is going to show me that you have understood the previous chapters in the book, and now you're bringing it to life. Okay? So I would say overall this is very straightforward. It doesn't have to be pages and pages by any means. I don't want you going off on tangents. I'd rather have you addressing the questions but answering them thoroughly and directly. So please, if you have any questions, let me know. But I would say probably attempt this before next week. I think the 23rd-ish, just before the Westminster spring break. I will only be checking that email periodically over that time. Okay. So good luck with this, and have a great spring break. Take care.